Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shane Jenkins. Welcome to another episode of Liberty's Cage. My co-host Sarah McAbee is on the road and she is cutting out presently, so we will bring her in and out as we're able to get her signal up and going. But we have a special guest today, and we'll shout out to everybody at the America First Warehouse. Shout out to Sugar Creek Goods, our sponsor. Again, with our show, please go to sugarcreekgoods.com, use promo code Liberty, and support the patriotic company of Sugar Creek Goods. They have wonderful products, and we hope that you will use them as I have them here in the studio. Wonderful products made by Americans in Indiana. But we have a special guest today, JJ Carroll, who I've been on his podcast before. Wonderful, easy guy to talk to, and he has a wonderful story to tell. So we look forward to getting into that today. So much is going on in the nation, whether it's the Russia collusion hoax, or I was at a Fort Worth City Council meeting here in Texas, and they were deciding whether they were going to lose their $277 million of federal funding or if they were going to keep their DEI policy. Thankfully, under extreme duress they had 70 speakers at the meeting, and I was only there for like the first 25, and I would say it was 21 wokesters versus 4 conservative thinking, sane individuals. And thank God that the city council went with the sane people and chose to keep the funding. And these people wanted to keep DEI at the expense of the citizenry in Tarrant County. And it's just, that's where I'm originally from, is Fort Worth, Texas. I live in Houston now. But what a dumpster fire I mean, it was the purple haired cat lady, transgender, like it was just the rainbow yarmulke, like it was just insanity over there. And I was like, my goodness. And every time one of them would get up there, like 80% of the audience would clap, and I'm just looking around like, golly, is this what this city has come to? You know, Fort Worth is, they call it where the West begins, and it's a you know, they used to drive cattle through town and load them on trains and ship them up to Kansas to get them to the East Coast. And it was just a very conservative country. It's like a big city country town. And it just blows me away that they have adopted these woke ideologies and just embraced it. And so, JJ, I just want to hear, like, what's your take on this whole Russia collusion thing? I'm sure you've kept abreast of that, like, and we've been talking about that probably like the last 5 or 6 years. But what do you think about all that coming out right now?
I think the whole world's on fire, my friend. And you know what's amazing? Everything that has been said, all that's some conspiracy. You guys are crazy. You won't accept that the election was fair and honest, and a demented old fool that doesn't know where he's at had more votes than any president in history. And then lo and behold, holy cow, you're not a conspiracy theorist. You're absolutely correct. And yet no one's apologized. No one said, hey, you know what? I have heard no one in the left come out and say, yeah, you know what? We were wrong. You guys were right. They have an inability to tell the truth. They just do. They're liars. Look at what's happened. We have the strongest conservative voice is a former Democrat, Tulsi Gabbard. She's coming out and saying, here's all the evidence. So, but Shane, the thing that I'm very hesitant, and I'm frustrated about, where the hell are the arrests? Russia hoax, child sex trafficking, open borders, what Doge has found. Just go off of what Doge has found. Just from a criminal aspect. I'm former law enforcement, 24 years. Just a criminal aspect of billions of dollars were stolen, and not one single person was arrested. At that same time, Shane, which I know you're very well of this, that 7 months that Donald Trump's been in office, how many people that have been arrested for stealing bread, for carjacking, for assault? Endless throughout America. Violence is coursing through our veins. But my point is, those crimes are punishable by arrest and then incarceration. But all of the elites, all of the NGOs, all of the graft and the corruption goes unpunished. And that's unacceptable. And that's something I would love to talk to you about. Is I don't believe that we have justice in America. I believe that's a lie. It's an absolute lie. You can't have 2 tiers of justice. You can only have one. And the same law applies to, if you are like me in law enforcement, or a guy that is a career criminal, or a person that's the highest elite in politics and business. If you commit a crime, then you have to be arrested and you have to face judgment. But when it's not applied evenly, we just live in basically a giant kabuki theater.
No, and to drive that point home, they certainly didn't have a hard time weaponizing the DOJ against January Sixers and rounding us up, hunting us down like domestic terrorists, and throwing us in jail. And I think it when you compare it like that, when you think of these billions of dollars that they've been using to fund the Democrat campaigns and all these different things that all this money was going to, I have no idea what it all went to, but it all went to a bunch of crap. That billions of dollars is very serious, seriously punishable crime, and as opposed to somebody being in the country illegally. I mean, that is an offense to come here illegally. I think I would rather leave the illegals alone and let's round up all these people who stole all this money, mismanaged the taxpayers' money, and were poor stewards of what our taxes go to. It is extremely frustrating that there seems to be accountability for the citizenry, and it's almost like I think about the pyramid, the all-seeing eye, and it's the elites at the top, and it's it's the general people on the bottom, and that's where we're at, on the bottom, and they don't have a problem squishing us or throwing us in prison or destroying our lives. But when it comes to them, they just get a hall pass on anything that they do. And I think that is a frustrating thing, whether it was, the Epstein files and all the stuff that's been going on the last few weeks. I'm with you. I just want to see somebody arrested. And I feel like law enforcement is on board with that. I feel like they want to do their jobs. They need to be allowed to do their jobs.
I agree. But I want to say this, that when law enforcement, when law and order is applied across society, then you have a society, right? I think that we can walk and chew gum at the same time, meaning Epstein people be arrested, Russia collusion people be arrested, illegal aliens being deported, crime being squashed. We can do everything at once. And what you do, and it's the Rudy Giuliani came up with this, the broken window theory. If you walk down the street and you see a broken window, or you see somebody selling narcotics on the street corner, or somebody's prostituting, and you don't do anything, then it just proliferates, and it gets bigger, and it gets bigger. The crimes get more harsh, more violent, because you didn't take care of the simple thing. You didn't take care of that broken window. Now there's 10 broken windows on your street. Now your property values are declining. Now people are running and selling their house as fast as they can. And all of a sudden, now you have a blighted community that is unlivable. And it starts, I believe strongly, Shane, in the slippery slope theory. You begin down the path of life, law, order, politics, whatever, religion, and you start taking that wrong step to the left, if you want to use that term. I take my wrong step to the left. Now I take 2, 3. Now it gets normalized. Now I'm 5, 10. Now I'm a mile down this rabbit hole, and I'm looking around at my life and I'm thinking, how did I get here? Did I just get transported? No. You took small steps throughout your life, and now you're in a miserable pit. The same thing when you start doing the right thing. You start following the 10 commandments. They're not suggestions. They're commandments from God. You follow those. And you begin to do one foot in front of the other. Sure, you're going to backslide, but you're continually moving forward. Then all of a sudden, you're in this amazing new life. You and I talked about this just before we came on. I said, well, it's your difficulties that you're having podcasting. And what you were saying is, I don't know how to do all this. I'm new, and it's frightening. It's frustrating. I'm in the same boat. I'm kind of new at this. I was a Border Patrol agent. Now I'm doing books, etc. And it's new, and I'm trying to learn it, and it's frustrating as hell, man. And to be that feeling of not hopeless, but you're sitting there and you're so consumed by your inadequacies that it drives you bonkers. But if you and I, and guys like us, just grind, before you know it, we're on the other side of this hill, and we're like, I can't believe how successful I'm doing. Well, it didn't happen overnight. You just got there because you grinded. But the same thing happens in life when you go down the wrong way. You know this. You take 1 step, 5 steps, 10, then you're like, I'm in jail. How did I get in jail? You know, or how did I get bankrupt? Or how did I lose my wife? Well, you had five different affairs, you idiot. Of course you lost your wife. Right? So I think America really needs to look in the mirror and realize that we have a lot of work to do. A lot of work.
Yeah, I've been really looking, and this has been something I've been fighting in my heart and in my mind, is trying, like I was telling you, oil field work and this other stuff, and I want to go back to my old normal, but it's like Jesus calling Peter out of the boat. It seems impossible to walk on water. It seems like I'm not a duck. I'm not I'm not equipped physically to do these things, right? I don't feel adequate, and maybe that's some insecurity falling in there. But I do think that, you know, if he is calling us out of the boat, he's calling us to do these things. And I don't think that it's an accident that we're both sitting here podcasting, you know.
Huh?
After when we come back after this break, I would like to kind of get into, you said you were Border Patrol, you said for 24 years?
Yep.
Yeah, so if we could get into that, like maybe how you got started in your law enforcement career, and then we can just kind of move forward from that. Do you have a book that you have out now?
I do. I have a new book. It's called Treason. It's a bestseller on Amazon, and it's about what happened these last 4 years under Joe Biden. And I know we're pushed up on a break, but what I find great for me is I've been professionally validated because of Donald Trump's executive orders, and his Doge has shown everything that I wrote in that book is factually true. And I wish it wasn't, but it is.
Okay, so let's go to Amazon, check out the book Treason by J.J. Carroll. We're going to get back into his past when we come back from commercial break. We look forward to seeing you when we come back.
Corrupt judges, broken families, families torn apart. This isn't justice. If you've been wronged by the system, join us. Don't stand alone. Hi, I'm Gary Jacobs, president of Americans for Legal Reform. We're the oldest legal reform group in the United States. The justice system in the United States should be transparent, fair, and open to everybody and accessible. Unfortunately, many times that's not the case. At Americans for Legal Reform, we are here to help. Join the movement. Visit AmericansForLegalReform.com and help reform the system before it fails you.
Hi, my name is Elena Ruseva, aka Megalangela. Please check my art at www.megalangela.vip.
The America First Ultra MAGA Store. For all your MAGA needs. We sell t-shirts, tumblers, flags, hats, sneakers, bumper stickers, and a whole lot more. The most patriotic America First retail store. The America First Ultra MAGA Store.
The Queens Village Republican Club is America's oldest Republican club, founded in 1875. Situated in President Trump's hometown in Queens, New York, we are America First MAGA Republicans, empowering fellow Republicans to get involved in the game of politics at the grassroots level. We host inspiring monthly club meetings on the first Thursday of each month at 8 p.m. For more information, please go to our website at www.qvgop.org.
It's Tuesday here at the America First Warehouse. I am Joe the Box.
And I'm John the Blanket. Freddie Rubino here from the America First Warehouse, coming to you live, the most patriotic venue in the land.
Welcome to Right for America.
I'm James Justice. We got Stephen Ruth over here. What are we doing, Steve? Fighting!
Welcome to Tune In Tuesday of the Patriots Podcast, live streaming every Tuesday night at 7:30.
Another edition of On the Right Side here, and you can catch us weekly, Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
And welcome to Liberty's Cage, where we rip the veil off America's broken justice system. Prisons that crush spirits, courts that bend to power, and a society that shuns people who have paid their price.
Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Kevin Downey Jr. Podcast. Be free, stay free.
Welcome back to Liberty's Cage with I'm Shane Jenkins, and I have a special guest, JJ Carroll, with me. We were just talking about his book on Amazon. You got to go check it out. It's called Treason by JJ Carroll. He also has a couple documentaries that we were talking about. But I just kind of wanted to get into you said you were a Border Patrol agent for 24 years. Were you a regular police officer before that, or were you in the military? How did you get involved in law enforcement, and what drove you into that?
What drove me into it? So I played college football at a small school on scholarship in Arkansas, and all I wanted to do is really play in the NFL. It consumed my life. I played everywhere but the NFL, and I tried real hard to do it. Went to all the tryouts, did all that stuff, and it just wasn't in the cards. And to play professional sports, it has to be the stars and the moon has to be aligned, unless you are just beyond exceptional, right? And my father at the time was a Secret Service agent, and very, very successful Secret Service agent. Worked under for LBJ all the way to Bush Jr. Guarded the Pope actually when Pope John Paul II came to America. So I knew I wanted to get in law enforcement. I knew I didn't want to get into what my father was doing per se. I knew I needed something more instant gratification. So when I got out of college, I bounced around for a little while, and then the United States Border Patrol was hiring. And my father told me, I'll never forget this. He said to me, "You can join this federal service, and if you don't like it, JJ, every other agency will take you because you'll be bilingual. Everyone loves Border Patrol agents, and will hire you. Secret Service, FBI, ATF, everyone will hire you." I was like, okay. But dude, when I got there for that first day, I'll never forget driving in I went to the academy, which is difficult. It's 19, 20 weeks of intense training. Then my first day, I did what everybody does when they get a new job, is you drive to your new job, right? Before the first day, so you can see, okay, where is it? Blah, blah, blah. And I'll never forget, I drive in and I'm standing in the parking lot in Imperial Beach, California. So if you look at the map, it's the southwesternmost point of the United States of America. That's where I worked on the border. And I parked my car and I looked out south. And south, I could see the border fence. And then I could see the largest flag I have ever seen in my life. And it was the Mexican flag waving in the center of Tijuana. And it has to be, it's still there. It has to be over 100, 200 feet long. It's just gigantic. And it just waves. And I remember stepping my boots on that soil on the border for that first time, and I knew I wasn't going anywhere else. This was going to be my home. I loved it. It was freedom. You just roamed around. You chased people. You got in fights. It was dangerous, and I loved it. It was a world, the border, so your audience understands the border is completely different than any place you've ever been before. And if you talk to people you talk to smugglers, you talk to the pollos, the people being brought across, and you talk about people that live there and the agents, they will all tell you that is the most violent, it is the most desolate, it is the most hopeless place on planet Earth, period. It devours the weak agents, weak smugglers, weak pollos. Everyone gets devoured that's weak. And I know this says a lot of great about me, and I know at the same time, Shane, it says a lot of bad about me, is that world, that disgusting, dirty, violent world. I was born for that world, and I thrived in it, and I was good at my job. And the more violent they became, I was even more violent, and I was able to secure arrest. I was able to make massive arrests. I ran task forces for a large narcotic beachside task force that I ran called CBET. I moved up the ranks into senior leadership, and when I retired as a deputy patrol agent in charge in San Diego sector. I worked the whole California corridor and the whole Arizona corridor, so I'm very aware of everything that's going on or has been going on. And my last year in the Border Patrol was Joe Biden's first year. So I witnessed firsthand the treason. I went through Republicans and Democrat administrations that were horrible. That's if I'm being kind, horrible, until President Trump came in. And he is the greatest border president in the history of America, period. And then I went from that to a treasonous bastard and the Biden administration. And I saw treason, I saw the destruction of America's sovereignty, and I saw chaos within 24 hours of him becoming president. And I did that for about 7-8 months. And I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm out.
So I want to ask, and I want to kind of back up just a little bit and then come back to right where you're at right now. But you're kind of out there on the wire. You're like it's almost like at the front line of a battlefield. One side you're not allowed in Mexico, I'm assuming. And
right.
That's where the enemy is like staging over there, getting ready for, and it's probably, I don't know how, like when you're just a regular agent working the border, I don't imagine your backup is pretty far away. You could be out there at night and it might just be you and your partner. And it's probably very dangerous, whether people taking pot shots at you or people trying to distract you. They're going to move these people over here and then these guys are going to come through like a shell game with you. I can only imagine the rush that would be. And you're kind of out there, you kind of got your butt hanging out there in the wind at times.
Yeah. There's some areas that are very congested, like Imperial Beach. It's a giant foot race. It could be as fast as they can get freedom in 10 seconds, or it might take them a day, depending on where on the border. You get to the desert, it could take them hours or days, and then agents are more spread out. But where I worked in Imperial Beach, so prior to Biden, everyone that came out of prison, local, state, local, or federal, that was an illegal alien, there was tags on them. So detainers. So when they came out, they wouldn't get released to America like sanctuary cities do today. They were turned over to the Border Patrol. Back then was INS, and they would deport them through the turnstiles at Tijuana. So all of these rapists, gang members, murderers, child rapists, they would all cross into Mexico, walk across onto the border, and they would try to cross again. So all I was arresting was rapists and murderers. Okay. And when you are fighting, this, when you're fighting, people think, they think of Hollywood, right? You're fighting and it takes, they're fighting for 5 minutes and they're banging bricks over their heads no. A fight, 10 seconds seems like 10 years, right? When you're fighting. So when we would get into fist fights, there was no backup, brother. It was just you. Yeah. So I could, a ground sensor, we have these sensors all over the certain trails, and they would trip the sensors, and then a sensor would go to dispatch. Dispatch would call us on the radio and say, for example, the 102-1 has 7 hits. So I know, because I know my area, that I have to get at least several hundred yards north of that area, because I know that trail is going to bring me to this hanging tree. And at that hanging tree, there's 3 different ways they can go. So I have to get on the hanging tree. So I'm sprinting at 2:00 in the morning to the hanging tree in the middle of the night. And I call on the radio. Yeah, I'm going. I'm 13 to that position. I'll be there. And we didn't have great radio comms. So comms can kind of go out. And then I might hear somebody say, okay, I'm rolling that way. But it's going to take him some time. So here comes 7-10 guys that I know that the majority of them are all released from prison, gang tats, everything. They're ready to rock and roll. And it's just me. And it's 2:00 in the morning. And I describe it in one of my books is just standing there. And I remember one of the very first times in the first year of my career that I'm standing there and I'm waiting for them to come. And if you can imagine how eerily quiet it gets in the middle of the night in the woods, and you just hear the foot patters coming to you, and your heart starts racing. And then the worst thing happened at that moment was I began to question, because it's rational. It's irrational what I'm being asked to do. So the rational part of my brain's going, why are you doing this? This is so stupid. This is dangerous. It's like 7-10 guys against you, because the scopes, the guys on the high points can see the infrared bodies coming, and they lose them in the woods, but they see them and say, radio my earpiece, hey, JJ, or whoever, my star number, I got 10 guys coming. So I'm standing there and I'm waiting for them to come. And I remember that time, and I write in this book that I made a decision like right then, no, I'm built for this. I'm doing it. And I did it. And I'll never forget, after it was done, I told myself I'm never, ever going to let those thoughts enter my brain ever again. I'm always going to be reactionary. I'm going to be quick and decisive. And I'm built for this. I'm going to dominate this world that I'm going to live in. And I did. And that's that. I don't know if people can understand. Like my son's going to be 14 next week. And he asks me sometimes, well, what was it like? And we'll be driving and I'll go, okay, you see these woods right here? Yeah, as we're driving, we live in Kansas. You see those woods? And about a quarter mile, there's about 20 people crossing the border. And all of them been in prison before. And it's not 2:00 in the afternoon. It's 3:00 in the morning. Now go, son. Go get them. There's no one helping you. Well, how long's my backup? There is none, son. Go get it done. And that's the mentality I had to go get it done. And the more you did this job, if you were really good at it, you thrived and you wanted that to happen. Every day I went to work, I thought, please, God, give me multiple arrests. Let me get into fights. Let me prove myself. And that's the world of law enforcement. If you're good at it, you are going to seek out. You're going to be proactive. And when that happens, unfortunately, very bad things can happen. Things go sideways all the time. You know this, Shane, being on the other side of law enforcement. It's not CSI Miami. It's not a bunch of hot chicks in bikinis and everyone, when you say, hey, you're under arrest, they go, okay, here, arrest me. Even when, and you know this, even when you trying to put handcuffs on the most compliant person, it is so cumbersome. It is so difficult to bend people to do that. But that's my life. That's just a look into Border Patrol. Border Patrol is an insane career, but one I thrived in and I loved.
Again, we're here with J.J. Carroll, the author of Treason and the author of Invaded. Check it out on Amazon. We'll be back with more after this break.
Who broke the television?
Can we laugh at that? Sounds a little mean.
As of this week, public gay sex will now be mandatory.
Am I the only one that could see his lips move? Cheek bones, baby.
I'm sorry, maybe I overreacted.
Corporate transfer, fine professional, moving and storage, and inventory management.
Welcome, everybody, to the Not So Newlywed Show, where three couples are going to compete for really great prizes. Okay, Donna, we asked Mike, who complained first on your honeymoon, you or him?
What do I think?
Yeah, what do you think?
I think he said.
Lisa, this ain't the SATs. Just tell us what. Donna, who complained first on the honeymoon?
I'm sure it was me, but I have no idea.
Donna is right.
No, it's always me.
What celebrity would you pick for a one-day pass?
For me?
Yeah, for you, not for him.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon! Wow! Who do you hate the most on her side? That rotten no.
There are so many choices.
Thank you all, and thank you for coming out.
It's me, Joe the Box, the America First Warehouse, most patriotic venue in all the land.
The America First Warehouse, a beacon for the sea, a symbol of unity. For the patriots of America, we stand tall and free.
Welcome back, everybody. Shane here with Liberty Cage with special guest JJ Carroll, 24-year Border Patrol agent, author, and documentarian, I guess would be the proper word.
Yeah, I think so.
Check out his books on Amazon, Treason and Invaded. Having a good conversation. He was just kind of getting into the details of what it was like just kind of being out there blowing in the wind, protecting the nation's border, and how he just really embraced that and got into it. And it's kind of you against the world out there and you're covering your butt. And then I just wanted to kind of get now on the other side of that token, when Biden came into office, what really just paint the picture how things changed for us.
Well, my job went, we were actually winning. Like, morale was off the chart under Donald Trump, like off the chart. Guys couldn't believe what we were doing. We were shutting the border down. And then we watched in horror the very first day Joe Biden took office. Actually, it was before he took office, we began to see the caravans pushing up because they knew they were wearing "I Love Joe Biden" t-shirts. Imagine that. Oh, and wow. Then we went from averaging 500, 600 arrests a day over the entire border, 2,000 miles of the southern border, 5,400 miles of the northern border, both coastlines, 500 people a day. That's nothing, Shane, absolutely nothing. We went from that to day one of Joe Biden's administration to the end, the last day of his administration. We averaged between 5,000 and 20,000 people a day were arrested and released. Arrested and released. Let me put that into context. Philadelphia Eagles, world champions, Super Bowl champs. Their stadium, Lincoln Field, holds about 70,000. We were averaging, I could say easily, the bottom end, 10,000 arrested and released a day. That means every single week for 4 years, Shane, we filled up Lincoln Stadium with illegal aliens and released them into America week over week over week for over 4 years. Wow. Morale tanked. We had a suicide epidemic throughout the United States Border Patrol. I went from being so proud. I was second in charge of a station. I was looking at my next promotion was going to be a large border station. I could not wait. I was so excited. To then we went to the depths of despair and we began to release every single person we caught. Do you know how many people I arrested prior to Joe Biden coming in office? At least 100,000 people, directly and indirectly, as running task force, being in charge of a station. Do you know how many people I released into America out of the 100,000 that I caught? Zero. Zero, because it's against the Immigration Nationality Act, the INA. But under Joe Biden, they ignored all laws and released that the Border Patrol caught 12 million people in 4 years and released them all. The United States federal government, I don't know if your audience even can comprehend this, took commercial and contract flights all across the nation, loaded jumbo jets full of the illegal aliens, brought them in the dark of night and released millions of them into America off the books. Off the books. The federal government of the United States of America admitted that they arrested or led in through flights or lost up to 18 million people in 4 years. I'm telling you that number was 30 million conservatively. And now we have 50 plus million people inside our walls that are illegal aliens. No nation has sustained itself and or prospered when their demographics were this destroyed. And we're sitting on a demographic time bomb here in America right now.
Well, and that doesn't even, and that's the surface, the 30 million. But then you look at, we were talking on the break about the flights that were, I think, specifically carrying like accompanied on the flight children, but unaccompanied minors. They were being dropped off to sponsors. And again, like undocumented, just flown into these small airfields in the middle of the night, really trying to be under the cover of darkness. And I don't understand, and obviously you were frustrated, but what could you do as a Border Patrol agent other than quit or resign or, become a whistleblower or whatever?
Yeah.
But Biden administration, it's not going to do any good. It's not going to do anything because they're not going to put you before Congress. They're not going to give it media attention. They're not going to want to hear about it. And that was kind of part of the frustration with me with January 6th was obviously it would be beneficial, but they're just going to put somebody else in your position if you resign. But it was frustrating to me to see like the FBI wasn't slamming their bad. Like, okay, Shane broke the law. He broke a window of the Capitol. He threw sticks at police officers. He needs to go to jail, but we're not going to weaponize and call him a terrorist or label him a tier 1 anti-government extremist. We're not going to do the pre-dawn raids with the armored personnel carriers, and we're not going to do all that. It just was frustrating but there, I guess under Biden, it really wouldn't matter because you would just be putting your ass on the line, and you're going to lose your job, lose your ability to take care of your family and your children.
Yeah. It's a very tough position to put a guy in. But Shane, we all swore an oath to not follow unconstitutional orders. What if Border Patrol agents got together and said, we're not doing it? What if all 15,000 just said, nope, not doing it? You're going to fire all of us? Okay. And then we're all going to class action lawsuit and we're going to win. But we never had any continuity because we didn't have any leadership at the top. When Rodney Scott left, who is now the commissioner of CBP, was the chief of the Border Patrol, they fired him and put another guy in that was a mouthpiece. His name's Ortiz. And he just basically did anything that Mayorkas wanted. So I think historians, Shane, are going to write volumes about this 5-year window prior to Biden coming in and then him coming in. There was lawlessness, and it's still today. And it hasn't gotten better, right? The border shut down. We're trying to arrest people. But overall, the system is as broken as it was 7 months ago. We were living in the dark ages of America law and order, where Justice Department was weaponized. They abused their constitutional authority. They abused the civil liberties of the citizens of America. And we opened the borders and allowed in the enemies of America and destroyed the sovereignty of the United States of America. And here's the problem that I have with all of it. Not one person's been arrested. Not one single person in 7 months has been arrested for the heinous crime of treason, for following unconstitutional orders, putting people in solitary confinement for trespassing.
You think about the Laken Rileys, these people who due to the open border policy, all the people that lost their lives, all the lives that were lost to fentanyl, all the lives of the children who were illegally smuggled over here, who have died or been raped or murdered or their organs harvested or whatever they're doing with these kids. I can only imagine. All those people's blood is on the hands of the Biden administration. I think it starts with Joe Biden and his cabinet, and then it goes to Mayorkas and anybody, that's a part of that. And it has got to be rectified. And whether it's it goes all the way to Fauci and the vaccines and any number of these things. We've got to have accountability, and that's where I don't need people to hang for treason. I would like to see that, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be them losing their careers. It could be heavy civil fines. It could be 5 years in prison. It could be 10 years in prison. I don't care. I just want to see somebody hauled off in handcuffs and to receive the same very treatment that I received. I don't even want them to receive that. I would just rather them receive regular jail treatment, get everything that they're supposed to get, but you're going to go do your jail time because you harmed our society. You have undermined everything law and order in our country, and you have cost American lives due to being a good Nazi. You're just going to go along with whatever the administration tells you to do. You're going to have no moral backbone, no standards, and you're just going to subvert everything that this country stands for. And it's absolutely abhorrent and unacceptable.
It is unacceptable. And when you begin to look at the totality of what happened, let's take the CDC, just start there. They lied. They lied about everything. They knew it wasn't like, hey, we tried our best and we made some mistakes. No. You flat out lied to us. Fauci, you sat there and you gave us bogus remedies knowing it had no good, and you forced us to do it. You forced us to take, I didn't take it, but you forced us to take a shot that has mRNA in it. We don't even know what's in it. You forced us to do this, and yet no one's paying a price. You opened the borders, Mayorkas. You destroyed the Immigration Nationality Act and did everything against the Constitution, and yet you walk free. Joe Biden, you and your family enriched themselves to the tune of millions of dollars. Nothing. Nothing. Hillary Clinton, Comey, Obama, Brennan, Clapper. You guys colluded. You didn't, Shane. It's not like you're walking down the street and you're like, damn, I'm hungry. And you go and you steal an apple and you run away. You said you met with your 5 buddies down the street and said, you know what? I'm starving. You know what? I'm not going to just go in and steal an apple. I'm going to steal everything they have and I'm going to burn it to the ground. And then you're arrested. We just saw that in America. You went in, you didn't just steal the apple, you burnt America to the ground because for 4 solid years we dealt with Russia hoax that you guys sat down in an office and created out of whole cloth. And then you perpetrated that onto America with the help of the media. And no one goes to jail. No one goes to jail. And I will argue, and I'd like to hear your thought on this. I believe when there's lawlessness at the top, meaning obvious crimes are being committed and nobody pays a price, there is a trickle-down effect on society where other civilians think, I can do anything I want. And then we have this crazy lawless society. And then, Shane, you combine that with the Ferguson effect, the George Floyd debacle. You go through all of that, and now we have bad policing on top of everything else. I think America is in, I've said this many times and I believe it completely, that America has never been this vulnerable in her history because you have savages let into our country. You have our own internal savages. You have horrible, impotent, cowardly policing right now. It's a combustible problem. And I hate to lay it all on Donald Trump, but Donald Trump has to accelerate certain things. And he's got to begin to fire people that do not work fast enough. And if Pam Bondi does not start making arrests, she needs to go.
We will be right back with more with JJ Carroll right after this break.
The America First Ultra MAGA Store. For all your MAGA needs. We sell t-shirts, tumblers, flags, hats, sneakers, bumper stickers, and a whole lot more. The most patriotic America First retail store. The America First Ultra MAGA Store.
Are you a musician, comedian, actor, filmmaker, or artist who stands for traditional American values? Do you believe in the preservation of our nation, our culture, and our freedoms? If you share our passion for America and want to use your talents to make a difference, we want to hear from you. Our mission is clear. Through the arts, we uphold the principles of freedom, faith, family, and the American spirit. It's time to step up to the mic and make your voices heard. So contact us at AmericanConservativeArtists.com.
Good morning. It's me, Joe the Box, wearing my Border 911 hat signed by Tom Holman, Rodney Scott, and Sarah Carter. The country has had enough. The American Horror Story is over. Border 911. Tom Holman is coming through. My brother's son, my friends' children. We're done with it. 100,000 lost lives every single year. God bless you, Tom.
The Queens Village Republican Club is America's oldest Republican club, founded in 1875. Situated in President Trump's hometown in Queens, New York, we are America First MAGA Republicans, empowering fellow Republicans to get involved in the game of politics at the grassroots level. We host inspiring monthly club meetings on the first Thursday of each month at 8 p.m. For more information, please go to our website at www.qvgop.org.
America First Warehouse was really the most patriotic venue that you can ever imagine. We wanted to build something for people to be able to come to and feel so comfortable and so relaxed, because there is nothing out there like it. We give an opportunity for people to really feel good about themselves and about this great country.
We're back, everyone. Shane Jenkins here with Liberty's Cage. Sarah McAfee lucked out and got the day off again, but she's missing out on a wonderful conversation with JJ Carroll. We've been talking about everything from the border, but you have to go to Amazon, check out his books, Treason and Invaded. And what were the names of your documentaries?
Yeah, it's What is Treason? Okay. And it's Trafficked and Invaded. You can go to my website. That's easiest. It's just jjcarroll.com. Has everything there. But yeah, we've been talking about a lot, Shane. I mean, but do you agree that when you begin to talk about these things, it's easy to see how everything is connected? It's all connected.
Very, very. I mean, it overlaps in so many areas. Where I mean, the open border spills over into the sex trafficking, and then the sex trafficking, you tie that to Jeffrey Epstein, and then the Jeffrey Epstein, you tie it to the elites and all these people going to Epstein Island and Hollywood, and there is all an undercurrent of depravity and some sort of sexual misconduct, or there is just a very dark and I believe we are in a fight, good versus evil. And so we were kind of talking about Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and the Epstein files, and what I mean, I know there's, just for instance, they're in Houston, they've got these Asian massage parlors, and those people are being sex trafficked. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they have darker places than that, and that's just on the surface. And you see them get raided here in Houston and stuff like that. Sometimes they'll do like a roundup and round all those people up. But what do you expect from this administration with Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino? And I am, this is something I am personally good at. Like a lot of my Gen 6 brothers and sisters are like, we want results now. And they're just like, and I get it, but I also understand. I think good police work takes time, and you don't want to rush anything. You want to roll it out. You want to do it legally, and you want to do it properly. That way these people don't beat you on appeal or beat you in a courtroom battle. But what do you expect from this administration regarding whether it's sex trafficking or even any of these things we've been talking about, from COVID to the border to whatever? What do you have high expectations, or are you kind of...
I had super high expectations when I started, and I saw Kash Patel. We're going to turn the FBI into a museum. Didn't happen. Dan Bongino goes in, and I'm thinking with Dan Bongino, because I looked at him as someone that I aspired to be. He is a former agent. Then he became a podcaster at the top of his game, making millions of dollars, having massive influence. And I thought for sure he would make things happen because he has more to lose. It's not the money. His name was on the line. And now I've come to the realization that I might not see one single arrest. Not one. And you said something, and I believe this because I did this. So the bigger investigations are always done, and it takes time. However, the underlying arrest and subjects are always arrested. Meaning, let's say I catch a giant narcotic load in Santa Barbara, I get 30 defendants, and I get 10,000 pounds of narcotics. I make those immediate arrests. I turn it over to the task force that's attached to my task force, and they begin the long form investigation. Where's the load house? Where are they cutting it? Where their supply? What's their supply chain? Where are they going? They follow it out, and they hit somewhere in Chicago, and then they I don't care about that. You're going to make arrest eventually. Right now, this is what I need. This is law enforcement 101, Shane. Why are we not going and arresting everyone that we know has either committed treason, broke laws, created the January 6th, and it was all kabuki theater. You had congressmen that destroyed evidence. That's a crime. Now you have Comey in them. So why don't just go arrest everybody? Why don't you just go arrest everybody? And then this is exactly how I would do it, as I did it throughout my career. I had 10 defendants, 10 guys that worked for the giant smuggler smuggling human narcotics, human loads of narcotics, and separate them. And I let everybody know, hey, we're all going to go in separate rooms now. Hey, I'm letting you know that I'm going to go talk to the other 9 guys. Whoever talks first gets the deal. And those men begin to scream at the top of the lungs because they want a deal. You're going to tell me Hillary Clinton wants to spend the rest of her life in jail? You think James Comey, that soft, pathetic little wuss, wants to go to hardened prison and federal prison and get beat up? No. As a police officer, no. He'll talk. They will all talk. They have no loyalty. None. Criminals have no loyalty. When the weight of law enforcement comes down on them, they will break. All of them will break as throughout my career. So in order to do that, now we're not talking about hardened criminals. We're talking about the elites of the elites that live a lifestyle that we can't even fathom. If they don't get their coffee the certain way, their whole life's ruined. So when I'm looking at somebody like Hillary Clinton, that big, fat, disgusting pig, and I tell her, ma'am, you're looking at 25 years. You are closing in on 75 years old. You will die in a maximum security prison somewhere. Or talk. She's going to talk.
So
we're not doing it. Why?
You're not hopeful about these. So they've subpoenaed all these people from Russia collusion hoax. They've got dates for Brennan and Comey and Clapper and Clinton and everybody else. So what you're telling, these closed doors, congressional investigations, just like all these other January 6th committees and all these subcommittees and these other committees that have no teeth, these don't inspire confidence in you that they're going to get to the bottom and make
No. Hillary Clinton, okay, let's look at this. Hillary Clinton's going to walk into a congressional closed door meeting, and she knows where all the bodies are buried, all of them. She's going to look at the people that are on the panel. She's going to look them right in the eye and go, "You're really going to do this, Senator Bob so and so? You really going to do this?" With you and you like young boys under 5 years old, you're really going to do this? And Senator Bob's going to go, nope, not going to do it. It's incestuous. All of it is incestuous. The Congress has no teeth. The Congress are a bunch of gutless bastards. I went and testified in front of Congress in November 2024 on child sex trafficking. Nothing was done. Nothing was done. Nothing's ever going to get done. Why? Because you're taking the criminals are investigating the criminals that committed crimes together. You think they're gonna roll together and say, you know what, Hillary Clinton, I've had a come to Jesus moment, and I want you to let's just all turn ourselves in. Let's all go and just do our righteous time. You think that's going to happen? That's never going to happen. I had someone tell me, multiple someones tell me with alphabets behind their name, intel agencies told me, you need to understand, when I was filming my documentary about child sex trafficking, the reason why nothing gets done, JJ, is because the people that are pedophiles in Congress, senators, congressmen, presidents, they told me, they are significant, the percentage is. And the ones that aren't pedophiles know who the pedophiles are, and they remain silent. Therefore, they are complicit, coerced, and blackmailed. That is what we're looking at right now. Why is Jeffrey Epstein? You're telling me that Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, all those guys didn't already have the goods on Jeffrey Epstein? That there isn't right now thousands of pages that they can go in and go, okay, arrest him, and her. Okay, that's 1,000 people. Get them in here.
Has to be.
No, they won't do it because Dan Bongino comes in on a Maria Bartiromo Sunday show. And it looks like somebody has a picture of his wife. They're going to hang her behind the camera. He's white as a ghost, and he says, yeah, Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. I'm
going to bring that up. Did they not look supremely uncomfortable, like they were being extorted or something was going on, or being forced to lie? Did they not look? That's what was my take on it.
I did this for a living. You had to survive having to be able to tell when people are lying. I did this for a living. They were lying. I was so distraught about, after watching Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, what I thought was lying. I reached out to someone that did this in the military intelligence world and CIA world, and he's an expert. And I said, am I wrong? Were they lying? He goes, they were lying through their teeth. I watched them live right in real time, all the telltale signs. Dan Bongino is a very dark-skinned man. He looked like he was pale white.
They looked extremely uncomfortable. Like they did not want to be there. They did not want to be saying what they were having to say. And I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist. If I had to pick a conspiracy that I like for this whole situation, I believe Jeffrey Epstein's in the witness protection program and they're waiting for the right time to roll out his testimony. That's wishful thinking. Probably it will just be swept under the rug, probably. And we won't see anything from. I pray to God that they bring accountability to this country, and that we set things back. I hope that we put Jesus Christ back on the altar of this nation's heart, and we get things turned around. And I think it's going to take people. I wanted to ask you one quick question before we have to get out of here. Have you considered re-enlisting, like in the Border Patrol, or were you enticed by the ICE bonuses I think they were offering to
Yeah, it's not the bonus that enticed me. If I still lived in the border area, I would join back. Absolutely. But I won't move my son. He's going into 8th grade and in high school. I'm not going to do that to him. However, I did apply I live in Middle America, and I did apply for an ICE position. In a long, convoluted way, they would have to make exceptions to allow me to get back in because of the grade and series that I was. I'm more than qualified, but will they bring me in? And I volunteered for it because I was like, okay, I'm young and strong. I need to get physical. I need to get back in the fight. I can do everything I'm doing now and still do that. Then I need to do it. And now we're seeing, I don't know if you saw this today, Kristi Noem raised the age limit, meaning remove the age limit that precluded a lot of people to put in. So now you're seeing this mass renaissance of people joining ICE and Border Patrol. I think that is a great sign. I do.
Well, again, go to Amazon, check out J.J. Carroll's books, Treason and Invaded, and then his documentaries are Trafficked, I believe.
Yeah, just go to type in Trafficked or go to jjcarroll.com.
Yeah, thank you for supporting the America First Warehouse. Please go check out their website. Again, go to Sugar Creek Goods, promo code Liberty. Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Liberty's Cage. JJ, it's been an honor, man, having you on here, and I look forward to having a wonderful conversation again with you soon.
I would love that. Thank you, Shane.
Thank you, America. God bless you.